Welcome. You're at Jessica's Craft Time with myself, Jessica, and this is my weekly Whip and Chat. Whip stands work in progress, so I'm going to work on my diamond painting, which is here, flipped over at the moment. I chat about my week, what's been happening, and I also share with you some crafting projects that I've been doing. But I've got something a little bit different I'm going to do later today, so stay tuned and you'll find out what it is. Now, I've posted photos of this on my Facebook page. I'll pop the link in description. You just need to answer a couple of simple questions and we'll approve you, and away you go. It's where you can share what you've been doing crafty. But I thought I'd show you this one, which was the embroidery I've been doing. The last video I just finished doing the stitching, and then it had a blue marker on it which showed the pattern and where you needed to stitch, so I soaked that, and now I have my beautiful embroidery piece, and I think I might send this off to my grandmother. Not sure, but I'll see. So that's the embroidery I finished. I haven't been able to show you anything for 2 weeks because last week in my Whip and Chat I did a bit of a vlog, more of a vlog, driving around the Blue Mountains. So we've got a few other things. This is my temperature cross stitch. So this is for 2020. I've got a thread. Oh no, it's just an extra thread. So I've got the high and the low temperature of each day. And this starts at January 1st and we'll go further across, and I'm working my way down. So you can see the purple are my hotter days, and we're starting to get into the cooler days here. So yeah, that's that going. I've done a little bit more on it, not a lot this week or the last 2 weeks, but I have got a little bit further. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more this coming week, and we'll be a bit further along on that. But that will depend how I go with this one. Now, I was actually stitching on this before I started doing this, so I'll just take this side off to show you what I did this week. This is my Peppermint Purple SAL for 2021. So each week a new block is released on a Wednesday night. So I've done the first 3 weeks. I've also done the border of all my boxes, and I started on the border today. I don't know if you can see here, I did a whoopsie. Whoops, I had to unstitch all that, but I'm really happy with it. The border will continue like this around each corner, and then there's another one that frames the whole thing together. So that is where I'm up to. I'm really getting in the groove with this because this pattern just repeats and I've got the hang of it now. So I'm not even really looking at the pattern just as a reference to make sure I'm still in the right spot. But I'm finding it really easy. I don't know why I haven't done blackwork before, but I'm really enjoying it. So that is my Peppermint Purple Blackwork SAL. We'll just put this to the side. I'll fix that later. Oh. Another thing that I did, and I'm just going to have to get up to do this, is I had a couple of large canvases that I diamond painted. And I didn't particularly have an idea in mind for what I was actually going to do with these ones when they were done. This one's a really cute koala. So what I did is I got some 3mm MDF board, and I'm still working on cutting my right measurements and playing, but I'm going to try something a little bit different in the next ones I do, but I'm happy with the results still. This one, you may not, I'll turn it around this way. You can see here I wasn't quite far enough over in my board. You can see a little bit, but in reality, when it's hanging up on a wall, I really don't think you're really going to notice that. Just had a couple of drills pop off in my hand somewhere. I've knocked them off somewhere. Anyway, so what I've done is I've got 3mm MDF board, and I used the spray adhesive and stuck it down, and then I flipped it over and I adhered it to the back. it didn't work very well. I used duct tape to finish that off. And it is bubbling a little bit on the sides. So the next time I was in Bunnings the other day and I had a little bit of a look at their glues, and I'm going to try a different glue next time to adhere it, hopefully a stronger glue, because I just don't think the spray adhesive was strong enough to hold it. So there's 3 canvases I've done like that. So there was my koala, this one was my willow one that I did the collab with, and then my large one, which was my big waterfall. So yeah, really happy with them. They're not quite as adhered on the board as I would have hoped, but trial and error, and I'll try something different next time. So the other big thing that I did was I got some yarn and I wanted to give arm knitting a go, which Miss Coffee had done. The yarn I got wasn't thick enough. It's just t-shirt yarn. Love the yarn. It's awesome. This is around about 3 kilos of yarn. But the arm knitting, it wasn't bulky enough. I had to have found the one that she used, which had like a filling in the t-shirt yarn. So I dug around in my knitting needles. I haven't picked up knitting for like 2 years. Dug around, found some size 20 needles, I think they were. And I knitted 4 balls of this yarn in 2 days into this giant, I can't show you on the screen, but that's not good. Let's just move my diamond painting. A giant knitted blanket. So it's quite weighty. There's 3 kilos of yarn in that. So that was a super big project for this week. But what I'm working on today, this is my Crystal Art canvas from Crystal Art, my dinosaur, from crystalcanvas.us. But I think maybe before we do that, I'm just going to have a drink. Oh, I hope I just found some diamonds on my table. I hope they're not off this one. I think they might be. Okay, so before we get stuck into this, a little bit of a story. So last night, hubby comes in. Actually, I might just put this aside for now. Should have had it on the ground before. Hubby comes in and he goes, "Have you read this book yet?" And I'm like, "No." Now, I'm sure plenty of you have read this book. It's a Dr. Seuss book. Mark got Dr. Seuss for a big box set for Christmas. And he goes, "Read it to me." And I just ended up cracking up laughing. So I thought I'd give it a go and see how I'd go reading it tonight for you guys. Who's read Fox in Socks? I'm sure plenty of you have read it, but man, is it a tongue twister, especially with a lisp. So I'm going to have another drink again. Seriously, by the time I finished reading this one last night, my lips were tingling. I don't know, it must be all the rhyming words in it. So let's give Fox in Socks a go. Fox in Socks. Fox, socks, box, knocks. Knocks in box. Fox in socks. Fox on fox in socks in box. Socks on knocks and knocks in box. Fox in socks on box on knocks. Chicks with bricks come chicks with blocks. Chicks with bricks and blocks and clocks comes, look, sir, Mr. Knox, sir. Let's do tricks with bricks and blocks, sir. Let's do tricks with chicks and clocks, sir. First I'll make a quick trick brick stack, then I'll make a quick trick block stack. You can make a quick trick chick stack. You can make a quick trick clock stack. We're struggling already. And here's a new trick, Mr. Knox. Socks on chicks and chicks on fox. Fox on clocks and bricks and blocks. Bricks and blocks on knocks on box. Now we come to tricks and tocks, sir. Try and say this, Mr. Knox, sir. We ready? Clocks on fox tick, clocks on knocks tock. 6 bricks tick, 6 chicks tock. Please, sir, I don't like the tricks, sir. My tongue isn't quick or slick, sir. I get all these ticks and clocks, sir, mixed up with chicks and tocks, sir. I can't do it, Mr. Fox, sir. I'm so sorry, Mr. Knox, sir. Here's an easy game to play. Here's an easy thing to say. New socks, two socks, whose socks, Sue socks? Who sews whose socks? Sue sews Sue's socks. Who sees who sews who new socks, sir? You see Sue sew Sue's new socks, sir. That's not easy, Mr. Fox, sir. Can anyone else say that? Because that's really, really, really hard to say. Who comes, crow comes, slow Joe crow comes. Who sews crow's clothes? Sue sews crow's clothes. Joe crows. Sue sews whose clothes? Sue's clothes. Sue sews clothes of fox in socks now. Slow Joe crow sews knocks in box now. Sue sews rose on slow Joe crow's clothes. Fox sews hose on slow Joe crow's nose. Hose goes, rose goes, nose hose goes, sews. Crow grows, nose. Crow rose grows some. Mr. Fox, I hate this game, sir. This game makes my tongue quite lame, sir. Mr. Knox, sir, what a shame, sir. I'm not going to keep going because I'm going to be too tongue-tied. But if you can read that book quickly, good luck to you. Seriously, my lips are feeling very, very strange. So let's work on our dinosaur. Let's just bring you down a little bit closer. This is a full crystal kit. And we're working with our Enablers Outpost pen. I've got my tray from the Next Door Maker. And I'm using wax from Shoalhaven Sparklers, which is an Australian store. So this is the first time I've worked out a baggies, and I got there. I've put numbers 1 to 15, 16 to 30, and just divided it with a piece of cardboard. But I hate referring back to the legend. I'm used to putting the symbol on the box and just going by the symbol. So I'm getting there slowly, but let's do one that's got a few colours in it. Let's do W26. Now I've got the hiccups. So how's everyone been? Welcome to all the new members on the channel. I appreciate you subscribing, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Pop down in the comments if there's anything that you want to see me working on, or if you have any questions, let me know. I do have a few new crafts coming up to the channel. Got some new stamp sets to play with, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm not sure when each of them are coming up. We also have our members giveaway, which is the last chance to enter. It'll be drawn on the 23rd, and to enter that one, all you need to do is, in the comments below is a link to my Facebook page. Head over to Facebook, agree to the rules. They're just basic, you know, be kind, be nice, etc, etc. And then go to this week's Wip and Chat post. It will have a photo of, like a close-up photo of what we've worked on tonight with Wip and Chat, and just put in the comments what you're working on at the moment. It doesn't have to be a craft. It can be baking, anything that you've done with your hands, anything you've created. It doesn't have to be a craft. It could be renovations. It could be cooking. You could have just redone your wardrobe. I just love to hear what you're doing, and then you'll go in the draw to win a pen, and that will be drawn on the 23rd. So there's a couple more days to get your entries in for that one. This week, well, the end of last week was quite strange. We're up the hills the weekend before, and then Mark was still down at his grandparents' all week. So normally what happens, and I spoke a little bit about this last week, is hubby and I are up with a youth camp in January for 2 weeks in the Blue Mountains. And my in-laws look after Mark so that hubby and I can go and volunteer our time for 2 weeks. With COVID, etc., this year is the first time in 61 years, it would have been our 61st camp, that the January summer camp has not run in Australia, which is a huge shame, but we just couldn't, with everything that was going on. So normally I'm up at camp for these 2 weeks, but because I wasn't, my mother-in-law had already booked Mark into quite a few activities like swimming lessons and things, so they still wanted him for the 2 weeks, and I'm like, no, not when we're just at home, but he can still come down and visit you for a week. So he was down there. He's come back a little brown boy. He's got so much sun. He's got a defined t-shirt line. I think he spent the whole time in the water, be it the beach or in their pool, and he had a ball. And it was very nice. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week, hubby was back at work. So it was just me at home. And that's when I decided to knit that blanket, because originally I was going to do it as arm knitting, and with a 4-year-old round, it's very hard to find time to sit for an extended period of time to do something that I couldn't actually have got up from if he needed me. So I thought, why not? It's 30 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit, outside, middle of summer. Why not knit a 3-kilo blanket? I'm crazy, I know, but I was meant to do some more videos, try and get a little bit ahead, knowing that this week, like, I do apologize, normally my Wip and Chats are up by 3 o'clock on a Thursday, but with Mark home, it is now 8:30 or something at night on Thursday, and I'm only getting a chance to sit down and do this now. So I apologize, it will be up late, but I was hoping to get some videos pre-recorded last week, but that just didn't happen. If you're new here, I record out in my garage, and I apologize, the cicadas are going crazy tonight. Daytime we get power tools, and nighttime I get cicadas. Can't win. So I was going to do that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when I was home on my own, and I think I got a little bit done on Wednesday, but then Thursday I actually film out in our garage. We have a 3-bedroom place, but the 3rd bedroom's sort of my sewing area and the study. So I've set up a little corner in our garage, which is where I do most of my filming, except for anything that I've got big to do, which I've started doing on my bed. And it was warm out, like 30 degrees. The garage is obviously a garage. You're meant to park your car in here, so there's no heating or cooling, and it got quite warm. So I'm like, let's sit inside with the aircon running where it's nice and cool. I'm going to put on a show, and I'm going to give this arm knitting a go. Well, it worked. I got the hang of it, but the blanket it wasn't the right yarn for it. So I'm like, well, I've started this already. I did do half a ball of yarn before I looked at it and went, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. The loops were just way too big on it. I know that's the idea of arm knitting, but because it was a finer yarn, it wouldn't have worked. So dug out my needles, and I sat there for almost 2 days and knitted, which was great. It was very relaxing, very, very nice, but I didn't get any filming done, but it was too hot out here. I've tried to do filming out here when it's been warm, and by the end of it, I've just got sweat dripping everywhere. It's not a nice look. So, I did that. And then hubby's been, I got him one of those what are they called? Smartwatches for Christmas. And with his work, they had a bit of a challenge that they were counting steps. So he's like, well, we need to start moving a bit more. So without Mark here, we started going for walks each day. Hubby and I haven't done a lot of exercise in the past. I used to do a fair bit. I used to walk half an hour home from the train station every night, as well as being on my feet 8 hours a day. And having been at home with Mark and having a car, since we got a second car, especially since we got a second car, and I had to walk to the shops to get things, and now I can drive and it's quicker. My health is suffering. So we've started walking, and it doesn't sound like much, but we're doing half an hour a day. I'm like, look, if we can do a brisk half an hour walk, that's more than anything. We'll sit on that for a while. Once we get confident with that, then we can jump up and do something a little bit more. So it was really nice. Without Mark home, we were able to do some things that are a little bit further from home, because he is really bad at night or afternoon, even in the morning, but it's worse in the afternoon. If you put him in the car to go somewhere, he's asleep. He's asleep within a couple of minutes of being in the car. Great for him, except then it keeps him up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. So it was really nice. We went and did a walk. I put in my Wip and Chat last week, the beach that we went to. Then we went for a walk down Cronulla Beach. And then I had an app on my phone, and it's called All Trails. So I'm like, all right, we want to start like half an hour walk. So I put in, something under 4K, see what tracks are around. We live right on the national park, so there's heaps of walking tracks. And I'm like, I found this one. It said that it was easy. I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. It's just inside the national park, only like 15-minute drive from here. Let's go. So it must have been, I can't remember if it must have been Friday afternoon. Or it might have even been Saturday. Yeah, I don't think it was. It must have been Saturday evening. It was like late afternoon. And away we headed, jumped in the car, found the track. Man, this track was like uphill. Not only was it uphill, it was upstairs. It was up these rock stairs. This track was meant to be easy. Hubby and I are huffing and puffing, but we made it to the top. Then we're like, which way do we go? Ran into some lady, and she's like, I'm going this way, but you can go that way. I'm like, okay. She goes, that way just loops you back round. Now, she may not have realized which direction we'd come from. And we're like, okay. We went up this track, and nope, it just dead end. Now, I knew that this track had said that it was a loop, because that's why I had picked it. I'm like, it was meant to be like a 40, 45-minute trip in a loop. There was no freaking loop. So back down all the rocks, got down, had a drink, and it's not something that we can do with Mark, because the rock stairs are very uneven, and the going up, he would literally be climbing the stairs, and then the coming down, it's quite steep. There's a path, but it's sort of a worn path, and if he happened to trip, he could really hurt himself. So it's not one that he can do with us. But I got to the bottom, and I was so proud of doing it. And I got to the bottom because I was like, every time we came around a corner, I'm like, surely that's the end of the stairs. And hubby's like, nope, we've got more to go. got to the bottom. I'm like, yes, we did it. Anyway, I've made it my goal that by the end of the year, I can get up those stairs without stopping, without collapsing, that I can get up the top of those stairs. And I think that's an achievable goal. So we've said to ourselves that we need to do it at least a half an hour walk every day, 6 days out of 7. So Thursday tonight, while I'm able to film tonight, is because Thursday is our day that we've decided that we don't have to make that, half an hour walk. The reason why hubby gets home quite late on a Thursday, and it's hard. We live in quite a hilly area, and Mark's little legs are struggling on his bike to get him up the hills, and he basically has to run next to us to, be worth a half an hour walk. So it's very hard for me to get out during the day with him in our area to go for a half an hour walk. Yet again, even if I take him at 10 a.m. in the morning, to travel anywhere that's got a good flat area that's safe for a 4-year-old to ride a bike is a distance away, and he falls asleep. So that's all right. We will get there. But it's my challenge. There's been 2 nights this week that hubby's got home and he's had a really physical day at work. And he's like well over his step count. And I'm like, right, that's fine. But you're home now. After dinner, I'm going. And the first night I tried to go with Mark. No, we went one night with Mark and it wasn't fair at him. We just kept getting angry because he couldn't keep up and it wasn't fair on him. So the next night, I'm like, okay. Hubby goes, nah, he didn't want to go. I said, all right, well, I'm going. Mark wanted to come. And I got like 10 minutes away and I'm like, nah, dude, you're struggling to push your bike up this hill. It's late. You're tired. And he was literally asleep by the time his story was read to him that night. So he was tired and it wasn't worth the fight. So I came home, dropped him off, and I went and just did like the block. So I've now known the block is 20 minutes. Last night I went from, we're in a cul-de-sac. So there's a set of rocks you can climb up. And I went up there, up to the main road, walked back out to the next main road. And instead of coming back down the other main road to our place, I kept going and went down the next one. And it was exactly 40 minutes. So I'm like, that's a good one because we're all hills. It's not flat here. So the way that I went was probably the flattest way that you could go. Ish. It's hard to say, but yeah, so it's not just flat walking here. So anyway, that's my challenge. I'm aiming to, and plus yesterday I also mowed the lawns, filled 2 green bins of garden waste and cleaned the car. So I got my heart rate up. So that's sort of my aim for this year. I want to be able to do that climb, that easy walk apparently. Not so easy if you're unfit. I want to do that easy walk without stopping. I just want to be able to walk up it. So hopefully with a little bit of a motivation. My issues are heat. I really, really don't like the heat. And I don't like feeling sweaty. Yeah, not so good when you want to do some exercise. So yeah, that's my issue. So I'm not so worried about winter and it being cold out because I can rug up. It's more the heat, trying to, when do you go in the day? And once Mark starts at school, I'm sure I'll get myself in a routine that if hubby's got a really full-on day and he doesn't feel like going for a walk that night, like I'll sort of go, what's your day like? Are you going to have a full-on day? Do you want to go for a walk? Look, if he gets home and then decides to go, I'll go with him. But hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit while Mark's at school. So he's, yeah, fine. It's just sometimes where I really miss being where we're in Melbourne, where we lived, was just a perfect area to go for walks. There was lots of tracks around that it was safe for him to ride his bike. Because my issue is too, a lot of the streets here only have footpaths on one side, if there's footpaths at all. And some of those footpaths are alongside fairly busy roads, but there's nothing like there's the road, the gutter and the footpath. It's right there. And I kind of worry that if he gets a little bit wobbly on his bike, then he might fall into oncoming traffic, whether I'm just being a paranoid mother. Where we've been really trying, because there's a few tracks that we take and we're really teaching him to keep left when we go on these roads in a certain, it's like, no, you have to keep right here. I want you as close to the grass on the other side, away from the traffic. If you happen to fall off, I want you to fall on the grass, not on the road in front of a car or a van or a truck. So yeah, just a little bit of a challenging area, I guess. But probably better for me, because it means it gives me a bit of a challenge when I go for just a walk from home. So that's been my challenge this week. It's probably been all of it. Mark's been home having a full-on week with his grandparents last week. We haven't been doing a lot. We've had lots of time at home. He's really got into those dig things where you have the plaster and you dig out treasures. So we've been doing a lot of those. We've set up the little pool at home, so he's able to splash around in that, which is perfect for me because I can sit outside with him and do some stitching, which I'm quite content with. We've been to the park. I tried to take him down the river this morning and he didn't want to go. He's like, but I have a pool outside. I'm like, yeah, but let's go to the river. No, I'll just swim in the pool outside. I think the only reason he wants to swim in the pool outside is because he can get naked. It's like I walk out, he walks out, and next thing his clothes are all on the ground and he's running around naked. Then it takes me half the day to get him to even put jocks back on. I'm like, he goes, okay, let's have lunch. I'm like, yeah, no, you're putting undies on. No. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're not eating lunch in the nude. Like, you need to at least put some underwear on. Don't care if you don't have a t-shirt on, but you're putting your underwear on. So that's been a challenge this week, trying to get him to keep some clothes on. Other than that, we're all doing well. It's starting to get close. One more week and he's off to big boy school. Where has the time gone? Where has it gone? My little boy is not so little anymore. And it's going to be a tough one this year because parents aren't allowed on the school grounds. I think I read somewhere in the news that they're allowed one day. Only one day they're allowed on the school grounds. So I'm not so concerned for Mark. He's a pretty outgoing boy. When he started preschool or kindy, whatever, 3-year-old care, they said, all right, drop him off in the morning. And then when I dropped him off, they're like, all right, if you want to pick him up, just after lunch. And I called, like, nah, he's fine. He's having a ball. So I came a little bit later, and then he got really upset because I was taking him before all the other kids were going. So I know he's a little bit nervous about it, but I'm going to be the one, driving home crying. But I'm sure I won't be the only mum doing it, or the only dad doing it, or the only parent, should I say. Just covers everyone. Other than that, got to go and buy school books, which I really, really need to do because it's creeping on me quickly. It's not really school books. It's more just they ask you for to contribute to the classroom supplies of texters and things like that. So I think we might head up on the weekend and do that. I'm sure there's plenty of other people doing it, but kind of want to involve hubby a little bit because he hasn't had the opportunity to be involved very much in the whole heading off to school thing. So I want to give him the chance to be involved, and hey, I might just give him the list and say, go do it. Go get it. You and Mark, go and have fun in the shops on a Saturday before, back to school. But he's got his uniform and he's got his shoes. That reminds me I need to go and get him to wear his shoes. And that's probably going to be me for tonight. The dinosaur is coming along nicely here. Let me just pack these ones away. The baggies are good when you just pack away in. They just kind of tap in, but I'm not overly keen working out the baggies and having to look at the numbers each time. But each to their own, and whichever way you want to do it. So thank you very much for joining me for this week's Wip and Chat. I'd love to see you over on the Facebook page and see what you're working on. Welcome again to all the new subscribers to the page. And I'll see you all soon in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.